So, I recently got back into a little game called Pathologic 2. It's been sitting in my library collecting virtual dust, and since I had nothing to play, I wanted to see if I could actually play it for more than an hour this time. If you haven't heard of Pathologic 2, first of all, I don't blame you. Secondly, it's a sequel to Pathologic 1, but not really, as it's the same game, so it's more like a remake, but there are things that are different, and they called it 2, and I just don't even know. So, the game itself is basically an amalgamation of Aphex Twin's music and Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker film. Kind of. I really struggle to describe it. Steam says it's an open world horror RPG, I guess. The premise of the game is that you're a doctor or a surgeon or a ripper returning to your hometown after 5 years because your father sent you a letter to come back, only to arrive to this bleak town that feels like every Slavic country during the Russian Revolution, as well as a horrifying disease ravaging the town and its people. Oh yeah, and your dad dies just before you arrive.
Oh, fuck.
Now, what makes the game so hard to get into and enjoy, like every other game, is that it's both very, very boring and very, very punishing. Some mechanics are so bullshit, they're just designed for you to smash your keyboard, but I'll get into that later. The gameplay loop is visiting as many key characters daily, seeing who's sick, who needs help, and treating them accordingly, while talking with them and trying to find a solution to the town's problems. Easy enough, except for a couple things. Just a couple. One being transportation, or the lack of. 90% of Pathologic 2's gameplay is just walking back and forth over and over again. Now, the upside is it does get better as you play. Not like you run faster or anything, but more obstacles are in your way, so it's just less boring really.
Help a blind man.
The second way to travel is these boat guys. They're your fast travel option in the game, and they take you to only a few predetermined locations. However, they aren't free. They cost 1 fingernail coin per ride, and yeah, they hate that joke. Plus, when sections of the town are infected, they can't be used to travel in or out of infection zones. Since the town is being destroyed by the plague, you only have 12 days to find a solution, and all the characters believe they hold the answer, even if the answer is just to nuke the place. But honestly, I'm with him. Fuck this place. There's a lot of resource management, and since you can trade and barter for items, you're always dumpster diving for whatever crap you find. You take these useless things like marbles and fish hooks and trade them for better stuff, but the thing is, adults are not dumb. They usually have good items to trade, but they drive a hard bargain for it. So the best profit while trading is to trade with kids, since they live in a place where simply breathing means you inhale whatever voodoo disease is currently inhabiting your neighborhood. They are more than happy to trade bullets, drugs, and precious food for some pocket lint. Now, there is money you can find and spend at stores, but items only get more expensive every day and people won't trade for cash. You do all of this to keep your vitality up. You drink clean water to ensure you have max stamina.
This some serious gourmet shit.
Eat food so you don't starve, and take immunity boosters so you don't get infected, etc, etc. Now, get used to seeing at least 1, usually 2 of these bars fully red, because when you start filling one up, another goes down. Like eating toast makes you thirstier, or taking meds makes you hungry. But the most important one is exhaustion. As you walk around, you get more exhausted, and you will need to rest or eat something like coffee beans to stay awake. There's a few other devious things you can do. You can break into people's homes, kill them, rob them, take their organs, you know, all the usual stuff. But as you do this, people begin to hate you more and more. They won't trade with you, and they'll just start attacking you on sight. Now, if you've been watching the gameplay, you may have noticed the town, specifically the layout, and how shit it is. So many dead ends, so many pointless locations. In Pathologic 2, there is the long way and the longer way to get around. So, knowing all of this, why would you play this? Why did I keep going through it even though it was a slog? Well, somehow it just ends up working in the end. At some point it clicked and I was having fun until I gave up, but not yet. Unlike many other games where you have a lot of powers and abilities, or just because you're the protagonist you get privileges or insane luck, in Pathologic 2 you don't get any of that. Kind of, but not as you think. Pretty much as soon as you start the game, you will not be as strong or as healthy ever again. From then on, it's all downhill. downhill. Now you do get privileges because you're the town doctor, like being able to traverse into infected zones, but this comes with responsibilities. Responsibilities such as needing to take care of the sick, but if you try to kill sick people, the town will hate you for it, even though you're doing them a favor. So, because of all of that, you actually end up getting really immersed into the world. When NPCs tell you about the struggles of daily living and how they're starving or can't go to work because of the disease, you genuinely relate to that, unlike in any other game I've played. You actually sympathize with them and listen to the advice they give you.
We'll have to ration our beans.
And so you struggle on, finding shortcuts across the map, understanding ways to profit while trading, only talking to people worth your time, and then actually you start having fun. I remember when I got my first gun by trading and robbing the right places, and I felt like a god because of it. It really feels rewarding just to make it through the end of the day. But, I did stop playing eventually, and that's because of the final mechanic. It's kind of my fault, but hold on. So many games have punishments for dying, like losing items in your inventory or permadeath. Pathologic 2 doesn't make you lose your items, although I would almost prefer it. It instead just reloads you to your last save, but then you start to get permanent debuffs to your health and hunger. This is absolutely vital. I think it stops at around 50%, but by then you should just give up. The first time this happened, I wasn't so mad. I just accepted it and played for a little more before restarting. So with my most recent save, I had a fresh start and a lot of early game knowledge. Except since I still didn't know everything, I experimented a lot. I would eat suspicious items and then reload my save over and over again, just to understand what certain items do and experiment with things. So I got pretty far into the game until I realized I now had a chunk of health gone forever. I wondered why, since I didn't die too often and the debuffs don't come immediately. I reloaded older saves to see when it starts, but oh silly me, as I kept reloading I realized that every time I did, the game counted it as a death. So yeah, fucking stupid me.
You will fucking cross the line!
I know it's my fault, and that's not the point of Pathologic 2, you're meant to struggle through it, but I just had to experiment. I wanted to see as many events as possible without missing out, and I just didn't realize that it was counting. But honestly, after that, I just gave up. Trying to play Pathologic 2, I ended up back to where I started, just not wanting to go through that early game grind again. So for now, I'm gonna have to say goodbye.